Look at you. Did you bring your microphone with you to this
Oh yeah.
dealership?
Oh yeah.
I
We brought the
love
whole
that.
setup. We end up doing an interview here. We interviewed them today. For our solution session this week was about culture. So we had them, we had Ashley, we had Erica, and we had their service
Perfect.
director in here. So it was great. It was like perfect, like while we're here, let's do it while we're here. Yesterday we brought it because we also interviewed Shaka Dyson on our show just to talk about, his life, what he's done, where he came from. He's somebody that I've been following on social that's done a pretty good job with his training and with his F&I training, I should say. Got a great reputation. So yeah, man, we're excited. This has been great. We just, how we are though, Danny, we hustle, brother. We're here to work. We're not here to play. We're ready to do the work right now so that in the future I can play. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Hopefully sooner than later though. So
So guess what? I think we're live on Facebook now. So hello world.
Facebook. What's going on?
What is up?
We are pumped.
So welcome to VINCUE Accelerate. This is a very unique one because you guys don't normally get to be on this side of the microphone while I get to ask you guys questions.
Right?
That's right.
The tables have turned.
Where are you right now?
We are in Marion, Illinois.
Yes, we are. We're in Southern Illinois, right there, and right by St. Louis almost. We're right by it's like a quad state area, Indiana, Illinois, Kentucky, Missouri. So we're in a really cool spot. It's technically in the middle of nowhere, but there's so much opportunity here. It's unreal. And to just drive into this town where we're at right now and to see that we can come in here and make an impact like we've been, man, it's opportunity. It's opportunity is what I see.
Well, good. Okay, so when I first met you guys, I'm going to be a lot honest. I didn't quite know what to do with you because I didn't quite understand what you guys did, right? I remember approaching you and you said, you guys caffeinate culture. And I go, cool. Well, what does that mean? And I think, Lou, you were the one that told me, you said, well, you'll find out. You'll see. And I go, okay, which I like that approach because you didn't give me an elevator pitch. You said, just you'll figure out who I am by the way I show up, essentially is what I heard. Mm-hmm. And that got me curious. And curiosity is kind of the theme of 2022 for our culture at VINCUE. It's about being curious about your team members. It's about being curious about your clients. It's about being curious about technology and innovation and all those things. And you piqued my curiosity. So I'm going to ask you guys some questions because I want to dig into that a little bit more. How did you guys meet? Like, why, where were you before this? And how did you guys decide to leave your day job and do this? Like, what was that impetus?
Wow, there's a lot there.
Yeah, that is, and I'll start since I got into business a year before Lou.
Senior.
I'm his senior. I'm his elder. respect, right? So no, but in all kidding aside, yes, respect. but no, we've been friends for a very long time. We've been in the industry for almost 20 years, combined over 4 decades. It seems like, right? And it's amazing. But I was in the Air Force for 4 years. I would join the Air Force straight out of high school. Great education there. I learned about electronics, reading binary code, how to read schematics and fix a lot of electronic stuff. I thought I was going to be an electronic engineer or something like that. Because, it's kind of like the path we hear is the right path to go. Oh, you can make money if you do this or whatever. I didn't really have love. I just thought it would be cool. Right. So I did that in the Air Force 4 years, got out and absolutely did not want to do that. I was like, I do not want to touch anything electrical ever again. I'm good with wires and schematics. It's not my jam. I got bored with it. So when I got out, I didn't know what I wanted. I was kind of like a soul searcher. I was looking for my next thing. And it was always that, really it was more of a pity party. It was like, oh, whatever, hopefully I just get something given to me instead of going out and earning it. Well, I met somebody once that talked about being in the automotive industry. I thought if he can do it, there's no doubt I can do it. And he was doing it extremely well. So I just kind of put that in the back burner. And then one day I was just like, I saw an article and it was a classified ad, I should call it, in the newspaper, like we used to do back in the day. And I'm looking in there and I circle it. It said, go see Matt Damos and Chris Craddock. And it said, make like $85,000 a year, 401k, all this stuff. I'm like, what? I was going to college at that time, sort of. I was going to class most of the time. And my whole goal then was to go get a job making 60, maybe 70 grand a year. And I remember going, oh my goodness, I could do this right now. It says it said no skills necessary, no experience necessary. I shouldn't say, it didn't say skills, it said no experience necessary. I was like, okay, cool. So I go in with my nicest suit. I think I just got it the Christmas before for some kind of New Year's party or something. And I loved it. I walked in and they hired me on the spot, almost pretty much. That's how it went down. I started selling cars that day and never looked back. Blessed with great management, great team. A year goes by and by then I'm the floor manager. And at that time, this guy I see here, he walks in.
Of course you are, by the way. Of course you are. Within a year. Keep going. Okay.
Just kind of bypassing that real quick. I did really well my first year, but I could have done better, of course, but there's always room for improvement. But Lou jumps on the floor as a new hire, and I was his floor manager, and immediately we got along. He had a sense of humor. He was from New York, had that swag about him. Like I'm from Brooklyn, that type of thing. And I love making fun of his accent. It was fun. It was kind of like one of those things, he'd say some words. I'm like, bro, that was like a little exaggerated, but, but no, great times, but he brought such an energy to the floor. It elevated my game. It made me go, hold on. I'm not as great as I think I am. I could be better. And he brought it. He took over, eventually became a floor manager faster than I did, honestly. Right. And we worked together as a team always from that point on. It was never a moment like I had left the store, went to another one. I begged him to come work with me because I knew that there was opportunity for him based off of what he does and how he does it, that he would grow and explode. And he did. He came, followed me over to that store. We partnered up there too and just dominated the market, so that's my side. What tell your side?
I mean, and then we met, right? So to put that story together, right? I came from my past, raised in New York, as you've heard, and the military brought me to Fort Knox, which kept me wanting to build my family there. I didn't want to continue running around the country as I grew a big family quick. Yeah. Right. Inside of 4 years, I went to having 4 kids, my wife, a local ministry, and doing so much in the community. We wanted to live life there. And I wanted to transition into going to the post office because that made sense to me, right? I can be that happy little guy. I got plenty of energy. I'll keep running down the street, delivering packages, bringing happiness, right? And just great news, right? Delivering great news is what that looked like to me. And I am processing out of Fort Knox and I run into the post sergeant major and his daughter is working at the same store that Fred is working at.
Yep.
And, he says, well, before you go work at the post office, Ramirez, and he's from Brooklyn, so it was really deep, and it was Ramirez, say, listen, before you stay, it's like, and if any of you all know a Richie Bello, right? It sounded like Richie Bello inside of a very tall in stature military uniform, okay? But he says, Ramirez, you need to go take that mount and you need to go sell some cars. You need to go do that. And I'm like, all right, Sergeant Major, I appreciate that. He said, go, my daughter's working down the street, the good guys, good people, go see them. I said, okay, Sergeant Major, I appreciate that. But that weekend, I see an ad in the paper, same exact ad Fred saw.
Man, that ad brought in some good car guys. I'm telling you.
I'll show you guys that ad. We can write that.
You all should copy it.
Okay. If anybody gets a newspaper. But inside of that ad, I saw the opportunity. I'm waiting on the post office to call. They eventually did, right? But in the meantime, I was like, well, let me go check this out. I can probably do this. No experience necessary. Got hired inside of a big pool of us. There was 12 of us in that particular class that got hired that day. So it was a good screening process in that, but I was hired part of a big group, right? And there's only a couple of us that stayed. But in that, got to jump on the floor, got to meet Fred, and got to kick it off right away. First thing that I actually tried to do to gain his approval, his exception, right, or just win him over as a leader was when we were doing inventory. We'd have to go out, do inventory throughout the day, and he was happy that he was a floor manager. He's like, I don't got to do it. Y'all need to go do this. Right. So everybody had to go do that.
I wasn't a leader yet. I was a floor manager. That's right.
Grabbed as many. I'm running circles around people, writing VIN numbers down, just being super soldier. Right. I'm
the dude.
And so got that, filled up a page and a half of inventory and said, here you go. Do you want me to go get more? And he was like, man, you don't have to do no more. We're chill. We're good. What are you getting for lunch? Right. He grafted me in right away because I took this
overachiever.
Pulled him in. And from there was, we just started to have fun. But He got to see me do my thing. I got to see him do his. We started to figure out how to brew together. But our partnership has, it's been from right there on the floor, right? Whether it's splitting a deal, taking care of customers, to eventually even raising each other's kids, right? Loving on each other's kids, and showing them the way to go, and helping them believe in themselves to go make bigger things happen. So it grew to way bigger than us. And just at that time when we met, he just had his son, right? So Nick comes into the picture. He's becoming a dad. I got one on each arm with me and my wife, you know what I mean? And we're trying to figure out life. So it was good. It was a good time to come together.
It really was.
That explains a lot about how you guys are hired. First of all, both of you, thanks for your service. I've got family members in service, but it explains a lot about your discipline. And it also, what I picked up on as you guys were talking about that whole experience is your perspective on gratitude and your perspective on culture. So I can see like the recipe brewing early on, and then eventually, obviously, you guys made the leap to say we see a path forward. The part that I think is unique is in business, culture is, especially over the last 10 years, has become a high priority. The former CEO of Microsoft says culture eats profit for breakfast, and I truly believe that, right? So what gave you guys the fuel to say we want to go out and help dealerships improve culture or as a path to improving profitability?
Whew, there's a lot there too. I think the seeds of it were in an infancy, was being able to see successful sales pros come into our family, come into our tutelage, and be—
That's a good word.
Right?
Tutelage. I'm keeping that one. Okay.
Okay. But be grafted into our culture and go on and take it elsewhere, right? Go be successful elsewhere. Go find success in their own right, by taking the tools that we've given. Once we started to see how amplified it can be if we continuously do the same thing, it's just, that was the infancy seeds of seeing, oh wow, it grew there. We're more than just right here, and not degrading being there. We were blessed, right? Some people
honored to be there.
Crazy for not doing that anymore.
My GM still called me last month and said, dude, I just looked at what you made up to the point you left for the year. You took a huge risk. And people would think it's crazy what we did. You guys do really well. You work at a great job. We work at a great place. It was great. It was fun. I had a great time there, but we want to keep growing. The core of it all is that, you can do so much. We can help a lot of people at those stores. We could do this. It's in our community. We got to be at home and watch our kids grow up instead of traveling like we did for the first half of our careers, right? And being able to be home, and even though we were home late at night, but we still had our Sundays. We still had our day in the week that we did. We still had our vacations that we can go on. We were home every single night. Every morning when they went to school, I was there. So I was blessed, blessed in so many different ways, but I wanted to keep growing. Even with all that great stuff I just said, great pay, great people, great culture, great this, great that, I was not happy. I know for a fact I wasn't. I would complain about things that nobody was complaining about. I would get irky or short, I would be very short fused on something that I would normally not really care 2 cents about it. In a sense, I want it done, but I wouldn't really blow my fuse. Right. So realizing it wasn't the fact that I was mad at anybody else. I was mad at myself because I know that I have more potential. So that's when the podcast came about, and that's something.
And how long ago was that? How long ago was that?
It was 2 years ago. Last month
was our first show.
Would be the first show, right? So we were practicing and getting together and actually just ironing out our hearts on it to begin with, right?
Yeah.
When determining
what the voice of the show was going to be, the look,
what it's going to look like, what we're going to talk about,
practice.
What we're really feeling. Why do we want to even do this, right? Why do we want to? What's the message that we want to get out there? Because in the end, whether we have thousands of listeners or it's just Fred and I, we want to say stuff that's entertaining us, right? We want to have a good time.
That's what it was.
You know what
but we wanted to bring fire. We wanted to pour our hearts out. We recorded, like he's saying, our first show was 1/20/2020, but our first day of practicing was somewhere in October of 2019. And we made shirts immediately. I made these shirts that had the 1/20/2020 on it because I wanted to one thing I take from people that are successful is advice. I listen to what they say, and people say, take massive action when you want something. When you want to do something, you will make excuses unless you do. You let the world know you're doing it. That's accountability. That's part of it. So
and it's okay to fail. It's okay to fail.
100%.
In fact, fail fast, right? Fail as fast as possible so that you can
love that, Danny.
Continue going. So then, do you think what you do in dealerships is unique? Do you think that, like, because now that you've gotten this perspective to not just be in one dealership, but to see many dealerships, right? Do you start to see a cadence or a pattern to dealerships that have really great culture, and then dealerships that may need improvement? Like, what are you seeing out there? And then what are you seeing? Like, how do you work with a car dealership to help them?
That's an incredibly great question. And to answer the kind of the first part of it, dealerships are all their own snowflake, right?
100% they are.
Their own animal. They all have their different operations, their different strengths. And what we have noticed, though, is that usually in any case scenario, and anybody that's written or led or helps understands that communication is the first thing that needs to be grafted right. So even the word cadence, right? Utilizing the cadence. In the military, it's called out so that you can get in unison together. That helps you then not just line up what you're saying, but then how you physically step. You then cadence with your step to where even your hands are moving at the same distance as everybody else around you, all complete different shaped, made, created, background people, then all of a sudden have the same language. A call is being made out, it's repeated back. Then a step is made and a march continues to go on. And then a thunderous force is coming up a hill, right? When that happens, it's because the language becomes unified. That communication becomes key. And so with strategic leadership placed in certain areas of that ranking so that they can be heard by everybody. Some hear it really close, right? Somebody's getting yelled at right in their ear. Wherever that first sergeant's running, they are screaming at the person right next to them so that everybody up and down the road can hear them, right? But depending on the proximity of the sound that's coming out from a culture is something that we then try to make sure we fuse together. And the unique part of what we do is getting everybody to hear that song inside of them first, hear that call inside of them.
That is
then unifies with
that's very interesting, because just a second ago you were talking about the song that you guys were searching for in embarking on this journey, right? You guys said you're called to speak to the car business, you're called to help improve culture, but you still had to find the beat, right? You had to find ways to make that into a product, make that into something you can show up to a car dealership and provide value. And now you're turning around and doing that for businesses.
Yeah, and absolutely loving it, feeling so fulfilled doing it. And and it's like Lou said, everything's a snowflake. We walk into these stores and we don't have any agenda. It's the craziest thing. We have one. It's to help. So when we walk in, we're like, okay, so how can we help these people? What if it could just be a conversation? It may just be, hey, we observed this. Here's what I saw. And if that fixes everything for them, or that helps them get at least sparked to do the next thing that they need to do, that's all I want to do. Or it may lead into me training them for the next decade. Who knows? But at the end of the day, whatever it is that it helps, it may be that they need VINCUE in their store because they don't have enough inventory and they don't know how to get it, right? And not to put a plug in there, but VINCUE, folks, if y'all don't know, 321 Fred Lou, hit him up. But that being said, right, there's a lot of great products, much like VINCUE, out there that Lou and I absolutely spend a lot of time doing. And that's something else that we do. We are advocates of certain companies, but not necessarily just one company in whatever field that they're in. We're about finding the best tool for that dealership. Somebody that something or someone that can really help fill the void that they have.
Yeah.
It's my void. I have money, and don't get me wrong, I want more. But I want to provide a service that gives me what I deserve.
Yeah.
That might just be a relationship, like I said, a handshake that makes I look them eye to eye and they know that I help them. Or it may be that I do leave there and I am their next product specialists for this type of thing or whatever it is, right? We're going to make sure that we are able to do that and help caffeinate that culture and make a difference. But it does start with culture. Today on our show, we had Erica Tiffany Wells on the show, and she said something that really sparked inside of me. And she said that the culture of the store is its personality. So we really need to think about that. So how is your personality at your store? How does your store, when people walk in, how does that personality make people feel? You know, are you an aggressive personality, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Some people do really well with an aggressive personality. Some stores do good. So maybe we have to coach them on being better at being aggressive, right? And I'm not saying that there's one way is right. We are open books. We are adaptable. We are solutionaries. But one thing we are is consistent. And so we're going to consistently go in there and find the solution. We don't percolate problems, we brew solutions. And that's what we're going to keep doing. And that's, I think, why we're having success. But when we walk in and we are able to tailor make whatever we want, because we don't have an agenda, it literally is just, let's help. And once we find out how we can help, we offer the advice.
Yeah, I will tell you, being, if I take myself, 10 years ago when I was inside only Country Hill Motors, only my business, it's hard to kind of get your head outside of it to see what the rest of the industry is doing. And so bringing in guys like you who have a view of the industry, who have a understanding of the solutions out there that are going to help grow the efforts of the team and continue to empower the efforts of the team, because there are silent killers of our businesses, right? If we don't take steps to calculated risk. So I understand that. So when you come into a car dealership, how do you talk? I'm gonna talk about leadership for a second, right? You've got sometimes leaders in the organization that have a hard time admitting that something needs to change. How do you help those leaders grow so that, because I believe that you can't change perception without changing culture. Culture has to change first in order to change perception, and you can't grow the business without growing the human. You got to grow the human first in order to grow the business. Exactly. So, and I think in at least in my business, at some point we got too caught up in results. It's like saying I want to be a millionaire without actually talking about your why, because I think those results are a side effect of the effort or of the intention or of the drive. How do you guys come in to an environment like that and help them see?
It starts for me. I tell them my experiences. I think that when you can tell somebody, okay, first of all, I'm going to start with we have to seek to understand before we could be understood, right? Mm-hmm. So, I'm going to start there. I'm going to start by asking questions, just like I would in a car deal. But to me, it's what I would do in a relationship, what I would do with a new friend, what I would do with my nephew if I haven't seen him in a long time. So I'm asking questions, see how they're doing, what's really on their mind, what's going on, so I can really trigger and figure out what's going to make their eyes kind of pearl up a little bit. It's going to make them look at me and actually understand what I'm saying, because no one cares until they know you care. So I do care. And that's what I do. I come in, I care. I understand that, hey, you do a great job. We don't go in anywhere and change really anything. We polish things. We make them better. We may I shouldn't say change. We add to the recipe. We may say, hey, look, throw a little sprinkle of this little Himalayan salt on there. It might taste a little better, right? And that might make all the difference for them. So it's getting that out of them, figuring out what they really feel. And it doesn't happen on the first handshake when you first look. You have to spend the day with them. And then kind of once you get comfortable and we have that conversation where it's almost like they know there's no camera, there's no recorder, it's just us talking, just being real. And I could tell them stories about what I went through, especially if I know, I'm like, hey, I'm starting to feel this from this vibe. I could tell them about what I've experienced, where I used to be stubborn and thinking I knew everything. And then I started, for one, I wasn't growing anymore. I started hating my job. I thought everyone around me was against me. And then once I realized I just need to use everyone around me, not use, but learn from everyone around me. And instead try to make it a team thing, change the way I think. It could really change the culture here and become better. And then at the end of the day, it makes it better for me. Once they hear something like that, maybe they're more open to that, but they don't know that. Yeah. We know that there's an issue. We have to know that they care.
It's talking about it. So you can awaken the culture, right? You can awaken that thinking, because I'm with you. I don't know that sometimes we get too caught up in the what, in how many numbers, the number we have to hit or the goal, and we lose track of the why.
Right. And
always.
inside of that, there's there's the focus on the why that, of course, we try to make sure to zero in for everybody, no matter who it is that we have influence over inside of the store's culture. The focus on their individual why, but to zero in on what we do to set a basis for the conversation is we do what's called a dealer now aware. We get to the fundamentals of where the dealership is at right now when it comes to numbers, when it comes to production,
Yes.
when it comes to the culture, when it comes to what's the average longevity of somebody working inside of your store as part of that conversation, right? What is it that you're actually doing for the culture, for the community itself? Because being part of a culture inside of the store is only really truly a culture of value when it starts to spill into the community, when it starts to spill into our families, when it starts to spill inside of our levels of influence everywhere we go. Okay, it's not just the dealership itself and what the dealership does for the community. It's what the individuals are doing inside of their community too, right? Because everybody has their different sects that they're connected to, sectors of the industry that they connect to. Some people, when they leave work, they do something different with their time, and that has value, right? They may have a group that they hunt with, they may have a group they fish with, but everybody has their community that they connect in. And primarily, we want to make sure that people look at things as solutionaries, which has its core values, but at the same time, look at everything on the side of understanding that we are going to do this together. But if we're synergized with all of our whys together, all of our whys connected, celebrating the great things that we each bring to the table and being aware of where we're actually at, how much work are we actually getting out of each other? And if I truly value you, then I want to get the most out of you and give the most I have for you, right? I don't want to leave a day with my sales pro needing something from me that I left with, and I can't give him that day anymore, right? I can't give him that conversation. I can't give him that one-on-one that he needed yesterday, today. I can't make up for that, right? I want to make sure that I pour it all out here. And if everybody that gives their time puts work inside of that time, honors that time properly, right? We get more out of each other, but we have to be understanding the same language. But when that, again, comes together, making sure that we're aware, the dealer knows where they're actually at. Then it's clear what they want to achieve, right? Or your manager is clear of your vision, or are they not? Do you know your numbers? Let's be honest, right? Some people know their numbers, some people don't. Some people have to check, and I get it, right? Every room I go in, I'm not the smartest one in the room, except right now.
It's because earlier. I get it. I'm with you.
You got me earlier, but with that though, we understand,
but he might be actually.
Biggest room in the world is the room for improvement, and inside of that cup, you have to be available for somebody to pour something fresh and consistently.
Yes, sir.
But you have to be aware of what's the origin of the beans. What is the process of getting it here? How long has it been roasted, right? And in order to create that custom cup for the dealership. So if we find out where they're at, and now they know where they're at, and now they know we know where they're at, right? Then we're clear about their target, where they actually want to go, right? Where they're trying to get to, and what is it that's stopping them from getting there? And how committed are they to going there? And it's not our target, it's theirs. No different than the car deal, folks. It's the customer that wants it. We're here to help them get it, right? And there takes many shifts and shakes where, hey, you know what? You're not ready to go to that level. And not everybody that we get with is ready to grow at that end.
No.
Some people have the tools, but don't have the culture, right? And what we want to be cautious and help dealers understand is, hey, before you go get all the best instruments, your band needs to know how to play music.
We can give them the best tools in the world, but if they don't know how to use it, I'm telling you, it's like it was a waste of money for everyone.
I used to think innovation was about doing something really big and disruptive, but I now understand innovation to be the things that you guys are talking about, which is starting with, innovation within your own culture, innovation within processes that you. How do you empower your people to solve problems with the consumer instead of managing it to a point where you have a culture of fear, right? There's all these shifts that make such a big difference. I think us as consumers experience that with different businesses we interact with, whether it's solving a problem with an airline when you have to change your tickets, right? And you can tell their culture because you can see if the person on the other end has actually any power to do anything about the problem you have, or if you have to be escalated 16 times. And so that same thing happens, right, with us in the car business and how we empower our team members
Absolutely.
to solve problems on the ground. And that is innovative. I think that is so innovative. And all these small, I have a friend of mine, Michelle Rodman, that talks about small shifts, big changes. And it's all these small shifts that lead to big changes. So how did Forgive, Focus, Fly, where was that born? How did that, where did that come from?
That was I was preparing a speech and a rally for a middle school inside of Radcliffe. It wasn't John Harden. It was Radcliffe Middle School, and we were bringing the entire hip hop troupe. I've mentored young men and women inside of the four elements of hip hop for as long as I've been a soldier, right? So back to similar time with the Army, jumped into ministry, but had this troupe of young people from DJing to B-boys to rappers, brought a message to kids to help them be encouraged to take their tests, a big lean on me moment for the school, right? Just having that go on, okay? So inside of that speech, I broke down 3 F's to make sure that they took on, because I felt to be real with everybody, I felt very inferior trying to tell kids to go be successful inside of a test that I never could relate to being a kid smart enough to be at the level those kids were at. This was a select group of kids that filled up the gym. And some of them achieved good, some of them didn't. I know what it's like seeing, students in my house care about their grades, right? My kids are incredible. I'm so blessed for that. But I didn't know what it was like to communicate that message of go do good on your tests.
Right.
Totally at that. So what I did understand is my life in forgiveness, and that anger against myself and anger against many other people was only hurting me. It only slowed me down. It only hurt me more. It only did more to impede my growth. And I don't know, but I got giant hands and big feet for a short guy, right? So my growth has been impeded weirdly, right? Whether it was wrestling or whatever that jacked up how I grew, right? I don't want to do that anymore. And nor do I want to stop the growth in my kids. So forgiveness, because I dealt with a lot of anger issues, right? I'm from a state where you walk outside, you're cold and everybody's mad at you, right? So inside of that, we wanted to teach them to forgive, get them focused on what it is that they are actually getting ready to do right now. They can't clean up the past. They can't fix that. They may have been abused, forgive it. They may have abused themselves, forgive it. Or you haven't done your best, forgive it. Get focused on what you can do, and then stretch out in faith and actually fly. Trust that now that you don't have that weight anymore, now that you can focus on where it is that you're going, if you just keep focusing there, you might find yourself actually flying, which is an act of faith, which is an act of encouragement, but it's also a true act of trust. Right? You have to trust what you cannot see. You have to trust the air to carry you, right? You have to trust your momentum and your flow. So wanted to connect that all the way through for a bunch of kids in a quick time while they watch dancers and everything. And so we got some shirts and said, Forgive, Focus, Fly, taught them a dance move, had all the dancers learn that, got them in sync together. And then from there, it was just marked on my heart for years on years. And we've taught that to kids everywhere. We started teaching it to the sales floor, getting them to forgive, focus, fly in the morning. And then straight into
the podcast. We made it our base, and I thought it was brilliant. So of course I'm all about it. I'm all about backing that up. It makes all the sense to me. I think 100% unforgiveness is what stops a lot of us from being successful. And I know it's made not even seem like it, but those are the excuses we make. Why we couldn't do something. Oh, I tried before. That doesn't matter. What you did in the past is over with. It's time to move forward. Forgive. Don't forget. Learn. But forgive. Don't let it hold you down, and just grow. I'm telling you, and that's the whole thing. And I love that he did that with children, and he passed that on through our sales staff, and they took heed of it. And some of them, of course, you get the but the ones that are all about the business, all the ones who are about fulfillment, helping others, they all about that forgive, focus, fly. It's beautiful when you really, instead of hearing it, but actually listening to what he's saying, it's powerful. So to me, it's made every bit of sense to pass that on to our community. When we started this, the car business has been horrible for most people, to customers, to people who worked in it, women, anybody who is not the typical white American male. automotive industry hasn't always been the best to them. But you know what? It is great for a lot of people, to include myself, to include Danny, to include almost everyone that I am networked with. And we all are solutionaries, and we all have done that. We've not let excuses, the people who did bad things, reasons why we couldn't do this business or won't want to do this business, or don't want to do this, I should say, better English there. Don't want to do this business. We use that. We forgive it. We move forward. We're going to make a difference. We're going to make this business greater than it's ever been. We're going to make dealerships have that passion out there. We're going to show them how to do the solutionary way. We're going to make sure that every dealership, like Lou said when we started Subprime Hero, every dealership across America is going to have a Subprime Hero in it. And we believe in that. And, and we believe that everybody should have a solutionary mindset. And if you're not thinking of the solutionary mindset, then, you're really just percolating problems.
Oh, hey, ow.
So when I first met you guys, I didn't understand, but what you guys actually did. But I remember thinking it doesn't matter because these guys are good people that it's like mentors that I remember meeting saying, you don't know this yet, but we're going to be friends. And you guys, in the way that you approach the car business is really refreshing. And I really hope that everybody listening sees that this is the type of mentorship, this is the type of culture that is needed in the car business in order to continue connecting with our consumers in a way that is meaningful. So
100%.
My challenge to you guys, Lou, the story that you shared on Forgive, Focus, Fly, share that. You guys need to share that more and more, because I didn't know that story of where that came from, and that is really powerful. Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that. So here I got a few last questions. You guys are working right now. You're kind of, in my perspective, you're kind of in the thick of it, right? You're discovering who you are, and you're discovering how to take what you're doing and actually drive those results within dealerships. And I imagine the intentions are similar to what you started, but the goals is going to be shifting, right? How do you feel that's playing out, and what legacy do you think that's going to leave once you guys do decide to leave the business and buy an island somewhere?
Solutions Island. It's the land of solutions, ultimately.
Hey, you know it.
We want to create. But I would speak on different levels of that. The dream keeps shifting in where our focus gets to where we can solve a problem. One thing that is consistent in what we really want to do is be able to give unto any good work and develop a culture that keeps seeing that. So if there's a need inside of a community, it can be brought together by the people, and we can point at any direction of industry and we can solve that problem, whether it's from abuse to hunger to lack, right? Or people just being encouraged. But in the industry, in our niche, in our expertise of the world, we want to continue to brew with the best, to continue to bring affordable solutions to people all throughout the industry, because everybody from owners to sales pros to detail reps to anything that is making the culture move forward brings value. And we want to encourage people to do their job with all of their zeal, with all of their effort. And if we can get that message across, we don't really know where it takes us, but we know that if everybody keeps smelling what's brewing, eventually the whole industry is sipping solutions. And that's what we want to do, so that we can get across the Forgive, Focus, Fly message, so that they can
keep growing. Yeah, man. You said that so well, Lou. And it's almost hard to follow up Lou so much. It's been fun doing that for the last couple of years, like constantly having to follow up Lou. It's like, okay, here, my turn. He's the mic dropping MFer, right? And one thing I love about Lou is he is never at a loss of words, because he's so passionate about what he does. That's why when I was thinking of the podcast, all I could think was, who's the one person I know who would match my fire? And it was Lou, the only one I could think of. I have a lot of great car people, some of the best I've ever dealt with in my life. But when it comes to what I want to do with this business and what I want to do with the podcast, who would it be? Double Dragon Lou, right? So this is my dude. Since the beginning. That's how we've always been, right? We almost
love it.
It is so true, but that's my guy. And I know that. So having that with him, the whole point of everything that we're doing, everyone that we impact, it does evolve. It does change. My goals have become more. Matter of fact, it's not that they become less or different. They become bigger. You know, I see so much opportunity. I see so many people out there that need a caffeinated culture, that need a solutionary in their life and how to become one. Most importantly, it's not about just knowing it. It's not just about showing it. It's about going it, right? We're going to always do that with our people, everyone we meet. So everywhere I go, that's the whole plan. It's not just to say, oh, we know this. We want to show them we know it, but we also want to go with them. We're going to train them and we're going to walk with them until the point where we know that they know this for sure. And we're going to keep doing that until the day that people say we don't want it anymore. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think we evolve with everything we do. It's going to be hard for us to retire. I know it. The day I do, I'm going to be like my good friend Alpha Dog Jim Ziegler. You know, that guy don't want to stop, but he keeps bringing value. But what I love about him is that he's constantly growing. The day that I feel like I can't learn anymore is the day that I'll quit. So I don't know if I'll ever quit. I don't think there's ever a day that I'll ever reach that, oh, I know everything.
And apologizing when he's wrong. I just saw recently he apologized for something, and I don't even remember what he apologized for, but in the way he did it, in the zeal that he had, and the humility that he had, I think that sets an example for all of us to say, you can't always be right all of the time. That's the one thing we can guarantee is our opinions are going to change and things are going to change. And so I just think that's so cool. Michelle Hutchinson just commented, love the Double Dragon. Two amazing and truly sincere people that want the best for everyone.
Too. We love her. Yeah.
And that sums it up. Thank you, Michelle, for that.
Thank you.
So guys, this has been so cool. And I know we're just getting started. You guys are going to be at NADA, and I think we're going to be brewing solution over at the VINCUE booth together. You guys are going to
we are
and hanging out with us, so we're very excited. I think this is going to be, because the last time, I mean, with everything that's been going on in the world, I think this NADA is going to be huge. We're excited because we were putting in so much passion and love into this opportunity so that we can show up with innovation. I know you guys are doing the same.
Yes,
and now we're 6 weeks away from that opportunity, which is
so fast,
wild to think about.
Super excited about the opportunity to partner up with you all, to be there, to raise the flag of solutionaries rising everywhere right now, trying to be the best, trying to bring products for people. The dealer, it's so dealer centric. It's crazy, but what's so crazy, it's also customer centric. So, I mean, come on now, this is beautiful.
And the thing is that it's always been, right? It's always been customer centric. The only reason why we've ever had a need to take care of somebody else is because they had a need in their life.
Thank you.
We brought a solution to that. And what we love is that we're connected to people like you that honor that believe that have toiled inside of the markets to figure out how to bring something of value to people, which is all that we're trying to do together. Yes, we are brewing with the best beans. And every now and then, we might make a bad batch of coffee. Okay. It happens. Forgive, focus, fly, everybody. But the importance of us consistently seeking out the right beans, like the Jim Zieglers, like the Shaka Dysons, like the Danny Zaslavsky, right, is that we have the people that are bringing good quality solutions that once you put the grind and you turn a little heat up, you extract some of that good stuff, and then you start sipping on some solutions, which is what we're here to do.
That's right.
Solutions.
Oh my God. How can you not? Fred, you're right. How do you follow that up? Like mic dropper.
I don't know. I try. Sometimes I do some good stuff, but it's like I usually get done and I'm like, I don't even know what I said because I had to make up some amazing things because you talk so like, God, you are gifted. Yes, he is.
Lou Ramirez, MD, mic dropper. So,
all day, dude. All day.
So how do people get a hold of you? Like, where do they go if they want to invite you into their store? If they want to meet you, what's the best way to get to you?
Man, it's simple. It's a number that we have. You can just text or call. It's 321 Fred Lou, FREDLOU. Very simple. 321 Fred Lou. Just hit us up, man. It's that simple. 321.
And just go to contact us or about us.
Man,
plug in there, get some information, let us know what it is that you're looking to brew, and we're right here. You can also email us at info@carguycoffee.com, Lou at carguycoffee.com, Fred at
carguycoffee.com.
search it out. DM us on whatever.
I'm on
whatever
social
platform.
media. You already know I'm everywhere. Just DM me and just let me know what you're trying. We don't go in there with any intent to sell you anything. We're going there to help you. So whatever your pain point is, we're going to figure that out and we're going to help you get rid of that pain. We're not going to just put a Band-Aid on it. We're going to make sure that it's stitched up pretty so you don't get no scar. It's going to be stronger than it ever was so that never comes back again.
So no excuse is what I hear.
That's it.
Come on.
That's it.
All right, guys. I love everything that you two represent. I'm excited that we get to work together. I know you're at a dealership today working, so I think I need to let you go so that you can keep brewing solutions over there and caffeinating the culture. So thank you guys for taking this hour away from your team. Please thank them. And I'm excited to see you in less than 6 weeks.
Yeah, man.
Let's forgive, focus, fly.
Let's get out of here with the forgive.
Let's do it.
On 3. 1, 2, 3.
Forgive.
Yeah.
Focus. Fly. And keep growing. Yes, sir. Man, thank you for having us on the show, Danny.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Love you too.